Glad to have you back. Now, inflation, interest and lending rates are the three indicators taken seriously by the Central Bank of Nigeria. And the inflation rate has remained on a steady decline for 18 straight months now.
But that sequence has now been broken as the National Bureau of Statistics says Nigeria's headline inflation for the month of August increased to 11.23% from 11.14% the previous month. This is 0.09% points higher than the rate recorded in July 2018. On a month-on-month basis, the food sub-index increased to 1.42% in August, up by 0.02% points from 1.4% recorded in July.
According to the report, the rise in the food index was caused by increases in prices of bread and cereals, potatoes, yam and other staple food. The Central Bank of Nigeria's Monetary Fund Committee, MPC, will meet about a week from now, and it is expected that the body would come up with measures to tame inflation. Of course, the CEO of Finance with Mukhtar Mohammed is in the studio with us to discuss this. Good morning to you, Mukhtar.
Good morning.
Good morning. Nice to see you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You know, apart from other indices, another factor is that when a lot of money chases few products, it tends to lead to inflation. But we wonder, there is barely enough liquid cash to go around. How is this happening that inflation is rising again?
Well, inflation is rising again because if you look at it, the product you just said are products that actually come from the northeast. And then we have the crisis there. Also, when you look at yam, you know, the food basket of Nigeria, when it comes to yam also, you know, it's Benue State. And you know, the crisis between the herdsmen and the farmers there. These are pointed to what we are seeing now. These are pointed, if you remember, the Minister for Agriculture said some months ago that we may experience food shortages if something is not done. The crisis between the herdsmen and the farmers, and that is what we are beginning to experience now on that side. You know, before it used to be only in the northeast, then you see tomatoes and all those things. We are beginning to address those issues now, but now we see the herdsmen problem coming in there. You see those stable crops that normally you get in Lagos, you don't get it now again because of those crises. So what we need to do is to begin to tame those crises, and then if we do that, then we'll begin to tame it. Inflation is a monster. At the time the CBN came in, this current governor of CBN came in, they had two things to battle. They had the inflation, three things they didn't look at: inflation, growth, and stable exchange rates. If you look at it, they've been able to tackle with inflation until recently. They've been able to see growth, even if it's not much, but it's marginal compared to where we're coming from. And then they were able to look at stable interest rate, stable exchange rate, which has been stable for a while now.
But the Naira has been helped anyway. So,
well, you see,
exactly. It's not muscling its own strength and capacity. It's been assisted with the injection of foreign exchange.
Well, we keep saying it. If we keep doing things like this, we expect a different result. We'll never get it. We've been like this on this spite of trying to defend our currency. In global best practices, no government just waits and sees currency goes to the lowest ebb, but you intervene timely. But not the way we intervene. We intervene virtually monthly to be able to keep it stable. We created the import-export window, which was something that was helping. But you now when immediately the United States of America increased interest rates, some of all these foreign investors begin to play dear to a safer environment. And not to forget that the political climate that we are entering, also they are looking at that political climate also. That also is what is creating inflation.
I was going to ask you, because the point there is, as at now, that the political climate or the tension has not gotten to the peak of things, we have this already. What scenarios can play out going into politics? Because at that time, it is predicted that we might have liquid cash on the streets.
And there are predictions that there would be inflation that time, not knowing that it would start early.
How bad will it be?
CBN is going to step his game up. You're going to see that in the next month MPC meeting. We expect rates to go up a little, just to be able to tame the inflation. Remember, they will not only be dealing with those election money spending, they also will be dealing with money that will be released to state governments. That also contributed to the current inflation. Remember, for a very long time, this time they shared a very high volume of money. So that also helped. That's also cause what is happening. And CBN is on top of the game, I believe.
Well, that's a fear, really, because the Nigerians at the beginning of the year thought that the MPC would even review the interest rates downward, you know, since Nigeria came out of recession and all that. But what's the reality now and the impending reality pretty much soon, you are already saying that it could be even pushed upward.
Yeah,
putting pressure on MSMEs especially.
Yes, the challenge we have as a country is, like I said, we keep doing things the same and we expect different results. We can't get it like that. Now, basically, if you want, it's market forces that determine inflation. Market forces. And market forces has to do with a lot of things. You have to look at the market forces. If I'm bringing my goods from Benue State to Lagos State, what basic infrastructure have you provided for me to make it here down here? If you look at the NBA and the Nigerian Statistic Report also, you realize that the cost of transportation has also gone up. And then you need to look at that also, looking at where they are coming from and the kind of road network we have. Basically, the challenge with Nigerian SMEs, why cost of doing business in Nigeria is high, it has to do with infrastructural challenges. Now, what have we been doing as the CBN or as a debt management officer? What we've just been doing is just looking for cheap money. So how do we get this cheap money? We go for treasury bills, we go for bonds, we borrow, we try to, but nobody's trying to do the basic things.
The hard work. The
hard work to make the economy move. So what we are seeing now is short guard measure. Remember when the exchange rate was so volatile, the CBN came up with the import-export window, the two-way window, whereby investors can come in with their cash at
the FPIs.
At that time, they now tried to, before they were regulating it, that you have to come in at the government rate. So then they now said, okay, look, as investors, you can go let the market forces determine the exchange rate. So we have dealt with that now. What will exchange rate? So we have dealt with that now. What we now saw that when they were thinking there was stability, came the news from the US that they have high interest rate. So what we saw capital flight. Yeah. We saw foreign investors moving out of Nigeria to go to US for two reasons. One, they are looking at the election that is coming up in Nigeria, the volatility when it comes to election in Nigeria. And then secondly, they are looking at, okay, good, when I look at the election in Nigeria, what's safe haven? In the US, it's a safe haven. Basically, they will still come back to this market. But then, like I keep saying, we've not attracted the type of investors.
Because FDI is not even being looked into. Because if it was a foreign direct investment, it wouldn't be easy for these foreigners to just take their money and leave the country.
You remember I said this some time ago when I came, when the government was shouting hooray that they are attracting foreign investors. I said we are not attracting. What we actually attracted was the portfolio investors. And at that time, they came into our equity market, which was selling at a premium. And so they came in there, and now they have exited the market and they have been able to get their money. And so what they've done, that they are making a kill out of Nigeria economy. Nobody is ready to come and put in to come and put in an industry here because of a lot of infrastructural challenges. There you could always understand that ordinarily in a developed economy like ours, what normally happens in a developing economy like ours, what normally happens is that the foreign portfolio investors that in turn become the foreign direct investors. But when the foreign portfolio investor comes into the country and begin to see the type of things that are happening, he just thinks to look.
Was an opportunity
power,
to pick
no
infrastructure,
no power,
into your system.
Then basically you see no rule of law.
All right, as it is right now, the NLC and the labor unions are also calling for increment in salaries. And if that happens within this period of time, it's still going to compound the whole issue. But this brings us back to the issue of data. You mentioned Benue earlier. You mentioned the Northeast earlier. These farmers who are involved in the markets, who are involved in the farms, bringing these things out as the case may be, is there really data to track what they do so that it is actually measured in true terms, or it's just based on speculation?
No, you have to give it to the National Bureau of Statistics and the health there. He has done a great job. It's difficult getting data, especially when it comes to Nigeria. And then if you're talking about the Northeast, how do you get data in a place that's like a war ravaged place? So sometimes you just get this data through proximity, through general analysis, statistical analysis. You just try to
sampling of price at the market.
Sampling of price at the market, and that. So it's not helping them. Then if you look at in terms of Benue State also, then you see the same thing. What we need to give them credit for. No economy get exact data. All you do is you get the data, you estimate, and then you try it. But you should be close to 90 to 95% so that you'll be able to say what the level of accuracy.
All right, we have to leave it here now because time is not on our side anymore. But we must thank you, Mukhtar Mohammed, CEO Finance with Mukhtar. Thank
Always
you very much.
Always a pleasure being here.
Thank you.